The soft hum of the ceiling fan mingled with the clinking of cutlery and muffled laughter in the spacious dining room. The air smelled of roasted chicken, spicy jollof rice, and my mother's famous pepper soup. On the surface, it looked like a perfect family gathering, a celebration of togetherness. But beneath the polite smiles and carefully chosen words, tension simmered like an unspoken storm waiting to break. I sat quietly at the end of the table, watching my older sister, Amanda, hold court like a queen. Her home was beautiful, marble tiles, chandeliers, and walls adorned with framed photographs of her smiling family. Amanda had always been the pride of our parents, the one who seemed to have everything together, a successful career, a wealthy husband, and two well-behaved kids. Me? I was the exact opposite. My name is Linda, and to everyone in this room, I am the disappointment, the sister who never seemed to get life right. I'd been struggling to find steady work after my business failed last year. Since then, I'd been staying temporarily with Amanda while I tried to rebuild my life. But lately, she'd been making it clear that my presence was becoming inconvenient. Tonight was supposed to be different. It was my mother's 60th birthday, and Amanda had gone all out to host the dinner. I'd even saved up to buy Mom a beautiful gold-plated necklace, hoping to show her how much she meant to me. I imagined us laughing, sharing memories, and maybe, just maybe, Amanda would see me as more than the family's black sheep. As the evening wore on, Amanda's sharp remarks began to pierce through my fragile hope. "So, Linda," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm as she elegantly sipped her wine, "any luck finding a job yet? Or are you still figuring things out?" A few chuckles rippled around the table, mostly from my cousins who never missed a chance to humiliate me. My cheeks burned, but I forced a smile. "I'm working on it," I replied, trying to keep my tone even. "I had an interview last week. I'm just waiting to hear back." Amanda arched a perfectly groomed eyebrow. "Waiting to hear back? That's what you've been saying for months." Mom shot her a disapproving look. "Amanda, please. Tonight is about family, not criticism." Amanda laughed softly and waved a manicured hand. "Oh, relax, Mom. I'm just concerned. You know, some of us actually work hard to maintain this lifestyle." Her words stung, but I swallowed my pride. This was Mom's night, and I wouldn't ruin it with an argument. I glanced at my younger brother, David, who sat quietly, avoiding my gaze. He'd always been Amanda's favorite, her loyal little soldier. I knew he wouldn't defend me. Nobody ever did. When it was time to present the gifts, I excitedly handed Mom the small box containing the necklace. Her eyes lit up as she opened it. "Oh, Linda, this is beautiful," she exclaimed, tears welling up. "Thank you, my dear." For a fleeting moment, I felt seen. Amanda's expression, however, darkened. She stood abruptly, clapping her hands to gather everyone's attention. "Speaking of gifts," she said with a dazzling smile, "I have an announcement to make." Her husband, Richard, joined her side, beaming with pride. "We've decided to surprise Mom with an all-expenses-paid trip to Dubai," Amanda declared. The room erupted with cheers and applause. Mom was overwhelmed, crying openly as she hugged Amanda and Richard. I clapped along, but a knot formed in my stomach. It wasn't jealousy, I was genuinely happy for Mom, but Amanda's eyes met mine, and I saw the challenge there. This wasn't about generosity, it was about one-upping me, as always. Dinner continued, but the atmosphere shifted. Amanda kept making snide comments about my situation, comparing me to successful relatives and subtly hinting that I was overstaying my welcome. Finally, as dessert was being served, she dropped the mask entirely. "Linda," she said loudly, her voice cutting through the chatter. "We need to talk about your arrangement here." The room went silent. My heart pounded in my ears. "What arrangement?" I asked cautiously. Amanda crossed her arms. "You've been living in my house for almost a year now. Rent-free. Eating my food, using my utilities, and bringing absolutely nothing to the table. Amanda! Mom gasped. This isn't the time or place. No, Mom, Amanda interrupted, her eyes blazing. It is the time. I've been patient, but enough is enough. I have a family to take care of, and I can't keep carrying Linda like dead weight. Tears pricked my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I didn't ask to stay forever, I said, my voice trembling. I just needed some help while I got back on my feet. You offered, Amanda. Her lips curled into a cold smile. And now I'm unoffering. You have 10 minutes to pack your things and leave my house. Gasps echoed around the table. Even Richard looked uncomfortable, shifting in his seat. Amanda, please, Mom begged. This is your sister. You can't just throw her out like this. Amanda ignored her. 10 minutes, Linda. Or I'll have David help you pack. I stared at her, stunned. My hands shook as rage bubbled inside me. All the years of being belittled, dismissed, and treated like nothing boiled over. How could you do this to me? I whispered. On Mom's birthday? In front of everyone? Amanda's eyes narrowed. Because I'm done pretending. You've had every opportunity to get your life together, but you keep making excuses. Well, not anymore. And then, before I could react, she slapped me. The sharp crack echoed through the room. My face stung, and for a moment, the world tilted. Gasps filled the air. Mom screamed. Richard stood, shouting Amanda's name. But Amanda didn't flinch. She stood tall, breathing heavily, as if daring me to hit her back. Leave, she hissed. The room blurred as tears finally spilled down my cheeks. I grabbed my small handbag and stumbled toward the door, my heart shattering with each step. As I reached the threshold, I turned back. You'll regret this, I said, my voice low and steady. You think you know everything, Amanda, but you have no idea what you've just done. And with that, I walked out into the night, the cool air biting against my tear-streaked face. Behind me, chaos erupted. But Amanda had no idea that the storm she'd unleashed was only just beginning. The night was cold and silent as I sat on a bench outside a small roadside cafe, clutching my phone. My mind replayed the scene over and over, the slap, Amanda's venomous words, the shocked faces of my family. I had nowhere to go. My savings were almost gone, and most of my friends had distanced themselves when my business collapsed. Just as despair threatened to consume me, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Uncle Joseph, a relative Amanda despised. Linda, I heard what happened tonight. Call me immediately. I hesitated. Uncle Joseph was always considered the black sheep of the extended family, a man who didn't care about appearances. When I finally called, his voice was urgent. Linda, listen carefully. You need to know something about Amanda, something everyone else has been blind to. Confused, I listened as he explained. Amanda's perfect life wasn't so perfect. Her husband's company was failing, and they'd been secretly using Mom's retirement savings to fund risky investments. Amanda had been manipulating everyone, keeping up appearances while digging a deeper hole. That's why she's so desperate to get rid of you, Uncle Joseph said. She knows you're sharp. You might notice things she doesn't want you to see. As he spoke, puzzle pieces fell into place. The extravagant gifts, the tension in Richard's smile, Amanda's sudden hostility toward me. I felt a surge of determination. She had humiliated me in front of everyone, but I wouldn't go down quietly. Uncle Joseph, I said, my voice steady, I'm going to expose her. The next morning, I returned to Amanda's house, not to beg, but to fight. When she opened the door, her face twisted in shock. What are you doing here? She demanded. Ending this, I said, stepping inside. Everyone was gathered in the living room. Mom looked pale, Richard tense. Without hesitation, I laid out everything Uncle Joseph had told me, backing it up with screenshots and documents he'd sent me overnight. The room fell silent as the truth unraveled. Richard buried his face in his hands. "Amanda, is this true?" Amanda stammered, her confident facade crumbling. I was trying to protect this family." "No," I said coldly. "You were trying to protect yourself." Mom wept openly, devastated by the betrayal. In the end, Amanda's lies cost her everything. Richard left with the kids, vowing never to forgive her. Mom cut ties completely. As for me, I didn't gloat. I simply packed my things and walked out, free at last. Outside, I paused and took a deep breath. Family isn't about blood, it's about trust. And sometimes, the people you fight hardest to keep close are the ones who'll hurt you the most. I walked away, knowing I'd never let anyone break me like that again. Sometimes, losing family isn't a tragedy, it's liberation.